Yeah, that was just me getting started.
Karen, we didn't sign that Sukup construction contract last week, right?
Okay.
We signed the bid award.
That was it? Okay.
Yeah.
But Dave, you're gonna have to sign this one too.
What are we doing?
The Sukup one.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to do it again.
All right.
And we'll do that again, chalkboard.
Yeah. It's just a limited offstage, so it wasn't as bad, but.
Do you want me down there at that end and would that work better?
The camera on super looks.
I just wondered about the waiting room, but I guess I can.
Oh, I can do the waiting room if you want.
Okay.
Have that here.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to mute it again.
All right, sound right, you guys.
Yeah. I might, I found out, I was planning on it, okay, they came up with another. Side. It's worth seeing there might be more because it's on my agenda, I'd like to go, okay. Yeah, that's been on my mind and I almost forgot to ask you about it. Just got my yesterday. Big fair, still leave it, is it?
Okay, well,
Good. Okay. At 9 o'clock, we call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
And pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mochler,
Here.
Graylow,
Here.
Brady,
Here.
Teasy,
Here.
Gilbertson.
Here. Conflict of interest declarations. I have one on Sukup construction, so I'll be stepping aside. Hearing no others, approval of agenda.
So moved.
Travis,
Oh, yeah.
can I add that, we talked about those no hunting signs last week under Brent's section here. Can we put that in there?
I amend my motion to add that.
And then we've got Lane's got an LAPC contract from the state, if we can add that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, we can add that as well. Yep.
I have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All same sign. Passes. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Both same sign. Motion passes. Visitors to be heard.
I'll be a visitor to be heard. Michael Smith, State Attorney here. I wanted to just give an update on kind of what I've been doing here recently. Recently I've been appointed to the State Steering Committee as it relates to JDAI, which stands for Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative. There's about 15 to 20 stakeholders, as I understand. I'm the only prosecutor on this steering committee. But the intention is just to come together annually or more than annually, moving forward, hopefully, just to start creating essentially programs and ideas at the state level that we can trickle down to local levels as it relates to juvenile diversion and trying to keep, trying to find those alternatives to detention when appropriate on juveniles. So I've just got appointed to that committee. Part of that appointment process, I went last week to Indiana, paid for by the state, to their JDAI leadership conference with a group of 7 of us from the state of South Dakota that went to Indiana's JDAI leadership conference just to see how their programming works and what they're up to. Obviously, a much larger state. Their system, though, is ran from the state level rather than the county level. From the very beginning, you've got judges involved with any juvenile delinquency cases or cases involving children, criminal cases. Judges make decisions rather than prosecutors in Indiana. Probation officers are involved very heavily from the onset rather than after disposition of cases. So totally different scheme and system. It's not anything that we can just bring over to South Dakota, but certainly interesting to just see how they're doing things. Hopefully that the information we kind of gained at that conference, there's 3 different circuit court judges there, a couple of JDAI coordinators, and then myself who attended that JDAI conference. And the intention really is just to bring that back to the steering committee for future use. So wanted to give you an update on those. Be happy to take questions, but before I do, I was also appointed to the Open Meetings Commission Task Force, as well as Jeffrey Graylobe over there. So we'll be working together on the South Dakota Open Meetings Task Force, which is going to be targeted to try to, I think, kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit on our current open meeting laws to create less ambiguity. It's going to be a process, of course, because it's going to be drafting legislation and getting the AG on board and getting it through, the legislator as well. So probably going to be a slow moving machine, but nonetheless, I'm excited to get to work. I think late this month, we're supposed to have a meeting in Pierre, which is on a Tuesday. So we should definitely have that conversation too. Something that we should both be in attendance at, given our appointment to that. I'm also on the Open Meetings Commission. I'm one of 5 state's attorneys in the state that's on the Open Meetings Commission. And then yesterday, against my will, I was named the chair of the Open Meeting Commission. So as well as being on that task force, I'm now Open Meeting Commission chair for moving forward. So just wanted to give updates. I'd be happy to take questions.
Meeting, and you still got.
I know. I worked desperately to avoid it. I tried to get Caitlin Hoffman, who's in Turner County, to take it, but she doesn't have any other, she's the only prosecutor there. So, and I even said, I understand you're running a heavy caseload. And so she agreed to stay on as vice chair. She was vice chair. So I said, that sounds like the natural progression is you, but yeah, they sucked me into it. So.
Any other boards you want to list?
That's it. Hopefully for a long time.
You still work for us, right?
I don't know. I thought I did until about 2 weeks ago.
Any other visitors to be heard? Hearing none, public hearing for supplement to budget, 2025 budget.
So this is just a formal action. We had some money set aside for building projects. Scott did not budget for the entirety of the projects that he's had to do this year at the courthouse. So We just need to supplement for the cost of the elevator project that carried over into this year and the rental dry system in the basement. So it's just formally kind of moving money from one pocket to another, essentially.
I just need a motion to approve that.
Yep.
So move.
Second. A motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion passes. Yankton County Sheriff request for support for the Yankton County JDC. Wesley? Good morning.
I have enough copies for us. There you go. Especially being on the JDAI, this would be intriguing, yeah. Maybe I'll just find out with that. No podium, but. Good morning. My name is Preston Christie. I'm the Yankton County Sheriff. I was elected in 2023. Or 2022, I took office January 3rd, 2023. The reason why I'm here today is to gauge interest from surrounding counties for Yankton County to possibly build a juvenile detention facility. I did talk to Sheriff Howe about some of the numbers. They've been slowly increasing over the years, especially when I took over in 2023. My predecessor didn't have a reason to look at a facility. But recently, if you look at the cost of a juvenile, I think right now we're at $497 a day if they go to juvenile detention center in Sioux Falls. If they go to Arise, I believe it's like 290 something. I don't know, Andy, is that right? You remember? For Arise?
Okay, the same.
No, JDC is more, that's because it's more lockdown facility, and then Arise is more of a staff secured facility. That's run by.
Had one in Arise yet this year.
Oh, okay.
Last year, I know they were less.
So in Clay County, it's all or nothing. So what we did is, we've done a feasibility study. Our commissioners have spent about $50,000 for a feasibility study. The reason I even got in touch with Tegra, the company, is because your sheriff there, Andy. And so it was a good resource for me, because when you start to look at building something, you know, I went to college for criminal justice. I'm not an architecture person. I don't build stuff. You can ask my wife. I just don't build stuff. So I reached out to Andy. I said, hey, how do you even start the process of looking at it? Because I don't think spending $500 on a juvenile to go to Sioux Falls for a night, because sometimes we'll go pick them up the next day, or they could be there for a couple days. If it's a pretty bad crime, they could be there for months. I think in 2021 or 2019, we had a juvenile that was there for almost 2 years. So if you do the math in your head, if you have somebody with an attempted murder as a juvenile, that could probably break your bank. So last year for Yankton County, we were just under $300,000 for juvenile detention. We do have a JDAI program in Yankton, so we've been running that for a while. And that's a Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative program. So we have a full-time JDAI coordinator that meets with these troubled teens. We ran into some issues in Yankton because they tried to, when they started the program, they worked with the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club is on it's the Yankton Public School property. So when kids are out of school suspended, our JDA coordinator couldn't even meet with these kids at the Boys and Girls Club who got the grant because they were out of school suspended, so they couldn't be on school district property. So if you ever look at partnering with the Boys and Girls Club on JDA, just that's something to look forward to. So in the papers that I handed out to you guys, the proposed Yankton County Youth Center features an innovative design approach providing a safe, holistic, and the safe or staff secure detention facility for juveniles confined within southern South Dakota region. This facility features a centralized processing center for juvenile justice services, intake, screenings, evaluation, educational programs, and physical fitness. Treatment and intervention program in a structured, normalized environment is to be provided for juvenile law and status offenders that have been acknowledged by the court to be a danger to their self or to the public. To achieve these ends, the Yankton County Sheriff's Office shall engage in highly trained employees to promote the health and welfare of each male and female juvenile committed to the care and confinement of the Yankton County Youth Center. This proposed 8-bed staff secured male and female juvenile facility is a 4,000 square foot building. This is piece compared to what you guys built. But the building would be adjacent to the existing Yankton Public Safety Center or facility located at 410 Walnut Street, in South Dakota. The single level building includes the intake area for juvenile assessments, medical exam rooms will have interview room, and a maximum security short-term holding for up to 4 to 6 juveniles. Those are more of your kids that need to be locked down and majority of the time. The staff secured, the 8 that I was talking about, that's like a rise in Sioux Falls. The staff secured housing area features a day room with an abundance of natural light and non-installational finishes. This 8-bed capacity male and female unit is adjacent to the multi-purpose visitation room and educational classroom. The day room is connected to the secure outdoor courtyard, and additionally, a large indoor recreation area is available through scheduling with the adjacent building. So we are going to have, with juvenile rules in South Dakota, and this has been worked out with the Department of Corrections, is that if the building is connected to the facility, the rules are much more lenient for your counties. If you build a separate building off-site, the rules completely change, and that's what makes it really difficult for your counties to be able to house juveniles.
So is that staffing rules primarily, or
Yeah.
what sorts of rules are?
So I believe it's 2 staff members for every 8 juveniles that you are mandatory to have.
And that's for this type of facility where it's adjacent to another law enforcement facility, but the ratio would be
Less.
less
Yeah.
at a.
So I-
site.
Yeah, so I could use current staff members, in our facility, so some of the correctional officers that we have currently would be able to move over to the building if we needed to. But if you do build off-site, the rules do drastically change. You need to do a full-time, provide schooling for them. With this idea that we have is that, remote learning is the easiest way for kids sometimes when they're not in the building at school. And a lot of the troubled teens that we do see, and I was a school resource officer for about 4 years at the Yankton School District, is they have a program called Play-Doh. So the issue that I saw with truancy when I was an SRO is that when a kid misses school, the Yankton School District had a policy that if you miss 10 days, the letter would go to the state's attorney's office. The state's attorney would decide if they're going to prosecute the parents or the juvenile, because if the kids are young and they're not going to school, it's probably the adult's fault. If the high school kids aren't going, it's probably the high school kids' fault. And so once the 10-day letter would be sent out to parents, goes to the state's attorney, they would turn around, give the paperwork to the sheriff's office to serve the parents, say, hey, 30 days from now, you're going to possibly have a court date. If it works for the parent, sometimes it gets spaced out. In the meantime, these kids are getting lost. They're not doing anything productive for those extra 30 days. And so what we were doing in Yankton is we were just issuing citations directly to the juvenile or the parents, getting them to court right away. So having a facility would allow the kid to come in and stay, like in a facility that's locked down, but your designated time for school would be this time. So you just go in and do your work with the school district. So you're not detaching them from their school. But if we're a separate facility, our rules change and we have to have our own teachers and stuff, and that's not feasible for us. But we spent about $300,000 sending our juveniles to Sioux Falls last year. We're down this year. It's really sporadic. Just depends on how good your parents are parenting your kids, I guess. I don't know. But, so if you turn the page, this is what the staff secured area would look like. This is the 8-bed facility. It's more of a lighter touch of a juvenile detention center, so it's not a lockdown facility. They're free to roam within this building, but you'd have a staff member in there at all times. And then, so if you're looking on the top picture there, that's looking to the north. There's obviously natural lighting in the building. The materials are much different than what you built, for your jail here. And on the bottom picture, there's the, looking to the south of where the proposed building would be. There would be like a little courtyard where there'd be like a garden area for juveniles to do something productive while they're there and get natural lighting. The last page there. So the darker color is the addition that we would propose. The little smaller section right up on the, you guys can see right up here. This would be actually the secured area where possibly the 4 or 6 juveniles that are out of control, acting out, need to be locked down. On the right-hand side there, this is the staff secured area. You can see that it'd be on the west side or further to the right, there'd be all the bedrooms. On the top and bottom, there's a double sleeping room. Sometimes you may run into this, not all Andy has, but we've had a family of 3 juveniles that had to be incarcerated all one time. And it was because they did a team effort and they're looking to a convenience store. So, and mom and dad were both incarcerated themselves. So there could be some times where you might have brother or siblings or whatever, and they could be together. You can see the courtyard on the bottom side. The classroom would just be to the left-hand side there. And like I said, when we did this feasibility study, I actually had Dr. Kendall, the school district superintendent on the committee. I had Dr. Stanish because there's mental health also part of that piece. And I think a lot of kids suffer from some mental health. And then I've had, Chief Foote, who's the police chief in Yankton, and his folks deal with a lot of the kids at the Yankton School District if they, but then also myself, I had my jail administrator, Stephen Luke, is on that committee as well. I had the city manager, on the committee. And then John Marquardt, our county chair for our commission. So we were trying to strategically kind of think things through. CWP, Carlson West Provandra, is the architect firm that helped design this building. They're from Nebraska, so the rules are much more strict in Nebraska. So when they were going into all this, I was trying to tell them South Dakota is not strict like Nebraska. So they were thinking that we'd hold them here for a little bit and still send them to Sioux Falls. Nope, this would be a primary area where we would be able to take the juveniles and put them in a safe location. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of information here, and I apologize for taking a lot of the morning up. I know Andy had some numbers maybe for you guys if you had questions, but I'm open for questions if you have any.
What are you looking for from us?
Right now, I know a juvenile detention center in Sioux Falls is being built. They were asking counties to say, hey, we need them to give us X amount of dollars for a discounted rate. We're not doing that. If we build something that's bigger than what we're needing for Yankton County, we want to at least have some kind of guarantee that, the surrounding counties would be saying, we would rather send our juveniles to you guys than Sioux Falls. And I know starting in 2026, because right now it's $497 a night for juvenile JDC, it's going to go to $550 next year. It's up another $50 in 2026. And they're not done building their facility yet either. So there's that piece to it too. Again, when you disrupt the kids' education portion, you're also sending kids to Sioux Falls that you don't know what kids are in Sioux Falls. So if my kids ever had to go to JDC, which I hope they don't, and they shouldn't, but I would definitely want them to maybe stay closer to home than being introduced to other problematic children in other locations. Not saying that we don't have our own problems, but it's just why introduce more issues to your.
If I have a question, is that all right, Travis? would these kids still go through the Ray system? It's still gonna be the Department of Corrections affiliation?
Yes.
So you're still gonna have to run through the same system for determining whether or not hold or release with conditions or whatever is proper.
Yeah, so the conditional release, the raise, the risk assessment. Something,
Initiative, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
sounds good. So the ray is where if you have a juvenile that has had no criminal history whatsoever. And this has happened a lot where they come from another state and they move here. We don't necessarily know if they've been in trouble or if they've been on a JDA program in the past where their charges got dismissed. So we have to go through a criteria that if a juvenile has not been, there was no petition for a CHINS, which is Child in Need of Supervision, another acronym for you guys to remember. If they have never had a CHINS put against them, that's actually -2 points within the last year. So when Senate Bill 73 came through, and I think it was in 2015 or 2013, any of you remember? 2015. It was to help keep kids out of juvenile detention facilities. The Ray is certain criteria. So if a kid scores over a 12, I believe, then they're admitted to JDC. A lot of times you have to have them overridden because there are kids that score lower, but the offense that they committed was much more serious. I've seen it in Yankton where daughter slaps mom and there's no family. So on the risk assessment, they'll say, can you release to somebody else in the community, another family member? Well, in my opinion, you're just giving the child what they really want. Even if they're having a disagreement with their parents, you're giving them a chance to separate from the home, at least locally, not, up in Sioux Falls. So if they don't meet the criteria, they don't go to JDC, then they might go to a RISE, which is similar to that staff secured 8-bed facility I was talking about, where they're free to roam around, but it's not, it's still a secured area, but it's not going to Sioux Falls.
So we have a JDAI coordinator through our grant as well. Part of the 3-year grant cycle that we're on. And Boys and Girls Club is incorporated with our grant as well. We have JDAI. Part of what our juvenile diversion coordinator does is JDAI. So we also implement these conditional releases. We can override or underride after a ray is done, meaning the law enforcement can call up and say, hey, and I've done training with all the law enforcement officers in the county. And last year we went through what the ray is and what conditional release is and when an override is appropriate, when you should even ask to underwrite it, meaning I know they score for detention, but we think this kid can be successful. That's when we do conditional release and keep them in the community or ask to put them into confinement. I've been in the JDC facility in Sioux Falls. That facility is full of kids who've committed awful crimes. And it's sad, but it's a large community. And when we're sending our kids to Sioux Falls right now, they're being housed with kids who have committed robberies and attempted homicides. That always gives me a real pause. So obviously, what's generally occurring in Clay and Yankton counties drastically different with juveniles as it relates to the crimes that are being committed versus Minnehaha County. So just from that perspective, as I work through, juvenile diversion and juvenile court system, I like the idea of not having kids in Sioux Falls.
And we do have some kids that are on JDAI right now that I believe shouldn't be on JDAI. And just sometimes it helps your budget sometimes when they are on JDAI, where and I don't know what the price would be per night. I'll guarantee it's gonna be under the $550 probably that we're gonna be paying in 2026, but it at least gives you an opportunity to say, you know what, maybe the best thing for tonight is just have the juvenile separated from the area or whatever for the night, but then they can go to maybe a lower key area than Sioux Falls. But again, we're not asking for anything. I'm going around to the surrounding counties and explain what our proposal would be. It might go to a bond for us to make that decision, or let the voters decide that, or the commission may just make the decision themselves. I don't know. I just saw a big drastic increase in our juvenile detention budget. Because like I said, last year we spent just under $300,000. This year, I think we're under 200,000. Still a lot of money, any way you look at it. And you look at Beetle County, they just had an incident up there.
yesterday with a homicide with another juvenile. And Beetle County has their own juvenile detention center that's added to their facility. So I don't know if that juvenile is gonna go to Sioux Falls. But this building that we're proposing is more, it's a more modernized way of, having juveniles at a detention center versus strictly a lockdown, but some cases you do have to lock them down.
Would you be anticipating that there might be moving back and forth between the two sides of this? Like, could a kid get, they were being particularly bad and then they're over on the lockdown hard side, but they might have kind of the carrot of, good behavior will get you back over to that side or something like
Yeah,
that?
it's just kind of like what we do with the adults right now, because we do have some that are in like our A-pod. They act out, they get disciplined and they go into they get isolated as a precaution so nobody else gets injured or whatever. I've had the adults saying, hey, I've been good for 100 and some days. And I respond back to them, well, you can be good for another 100 some days when you have your jury trial, because I'm not going to let you back into the pod. So, and then obviously with our facility, we can deny if we don't want a certain juvenile, but that's not the intentions here. It's just a way to work collaboratively in the southeast region, because I know budgets are getting tighter. I hear it every time I go to a commission meeting. I'll hear it again tonight, I'm sure, when I go to the commission meeting. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of go around to the surrounding counties and let you guys know what we were thinking about. And when you brought up the JDAI, it could have been a better time. That's right. And being on the board, a better time. That's right. I am open for, more questions.
What, I guess, obviously, Michael's on board with this, Andy's feelings obviously come into play here, but, what would the agreement look, if we all agree, what does the agreement look like?
So I'm not asking for any motions or anything, it's just kind of more informational that I'm gauging the interest that, yeah, we would be interested in bringing juveniles down. So every year, JDC will give you guys a contract saying it's contracted bed nights. So you're not, you're just saying if you do house at our facility that you will pay the X amount of money that we're asking, just like what you're doing right now for JDC and Sioux Falls. So that's kind of what I was leaning towards, is that if you do have one, they would just, the officer or deputy would call over to our facility and say, hey, and I don't know if we're gonna do the Ray necessarily. But sometimes the officers on scene know the situation better than what a sheet of paper scoring will tell you. Because a lot of times the officer or deputy's been dealing with the juvenile multiple times, but maybe we're in charge of the crime. So that's something else that we can work out down the road. Nothing more frustrating when you're dealing with a juvenile and then you can't do anything with them. And then you got parents that are like, well, aren't you guys supposed to help me out? Well, really can't do anything. It's kind of frustrating sometimes for law enforcement and the parents. Sometimes parents get, dealt a tough end sometimes. But hopefully they get it corrected and the juvenile will grow up to be a successful human being.
You said this would be attached to your current.
Yeah.
Current safety.
So if you've ever been over to our facility and you can't find a parking spot, if we build this, you'll have a harder time for it. Unless we get a parking ramp added into the thing.
You don't want to pay for that.
No. So yeah, I would, if you're familiar with our facility, you would be more on the east side. Of our parking lot over there, so.
Okay.
And we do have a stipulation with the city of Yankton that the land that we're on is leased from the city. And ironically, tonight we're doing a celebration for a payoff for a bond for our county jail, the safety center tonight at the commission meeting. So yeah, so maybe 20 years you guys.
I know, we're looking at the distant future. Happy day. Yep.
Yeah, so I'll do that tonight. And, I'm bringing this up just because I know down the road, it's going to cost the taxpayers a lot more money. And then are we really helping our youth too? So that's the other added piece to it.
Being close to home is good. It's good for everybody and it saves travel time for our deputies to get people to Sioux Falls.
It's definitely hard to find a person to drive a juvenile at 2 o'clock in the morning that's willing to kick your patrol windows out. it is hard to find those people.
I think it's just another option for us that's not gonna affect, our other option. I mean, we can use either one. I mean, if you guys are full, we're still gonna,
Yeah.
we still have another option, so I think it's great.
Yeah.
I fully support that.
I like the design choices you're making here, it seems like that's something I'm always thinking about is if we've got to pay to incarcerate somebody, I want that to be an investment in a better person coming out the other end of it. So, this looks like the sort of design that's likely to have that outcome for youth, so it's good.
I could tell you, if Andy wasn't so busy, I would have had him come over and help design it because he's been through the ringer already. And he's very thorough, so I like that.
Well, this one's done. What are you doing, Andy?
Yeah. what do you- You got plenty of time now.
You folks are interested in some numbers of our numbers.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hey, this, Preston and I have been talking about this, these day Plymouth for what, year, ish. And
Well, it takes 19 more to get it done.
yeah. We, Clay County's been kind of fluctuating. Some of you, well, I don't think any of you were around back in '95 when we partnered with Minnehaha County on the new JDC construction they had back then. That was sunsetted then early, where we, in that sense, we paid toward the capital expense for the construction. And for that being a partner county, we had a lower rate than the counties that weren't members. Of course, back in those days, we're talking about $80 or $90 a day. The non-member counties were paying something like 200. So it was valuable for us at that time. Yankton County's not asking for that right now, so they're just looking for whether or not we support it, and I do. More power to them. I hope they can pull this off. It's gonna be a tough one, but I imagine it really matters to find out whether or not the neighbor counties are gonna participate. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. It's closer. Preston offers a lower rate. It will be $550 next year, but this year to date, we have only used 26 bed days. We've only had 5. So it's been a real down year. We paid just under $13,000 in expenses. I mean, I spent $20,000 because I had a carryover bill from December, but we had $13,000 in expenses from 2026 so far. But last year, we had just a couple of kids that were just really no options, and they spent months in JDC, and we spent about $107,000. Last year, we had 234 days used in JDC last year. So it's really hard for us to say, here's how many we're gonna need next year. Somewhere between 25 and 300, and so it's kind of tough to budget for that. So there's really no reason why we wouldn't. I support it though, and hopefully they can make this work.
I will add on that too, is I know that during the 2024 year, we implemented the JDAI coordinator through the diversion process. There were at least a couple of overrides that we kept the kid out of detention, left them in the community through conditional release. And most of those numbers don't fit that criteria. And most of those kids that are going to be right on that threshold, if they go, they're going to be there for a couple of days. So they're not going to affect us tens of thousands of dollars, but certainly hundreds, if not a couple $1,000s being saved. Probably in the realm of $2,000 to $5,000 probably in the last year, just on keeping kids out of detention for a couple of days. Obviously, that's also better for those kids who shouldn't be there, so long as you have resources in the community. So, and I was even doing the numbers too, just thinking about what you said. I mean, you get a complicated juvenile case. I mean, it's possible, if not probable, that could be a year or more that you're waiting through the duration of a case. And at $550 a night, that's $200,000 annually. I mean, that's just the reality. Thankfully, that hasn't been our reality recently, but to your point, it happened on Halloween.
In these cases, it's not just, well, the criminal case can be complicated, but also some of these kids don't have family support. They don't have a home they can go to that we can count on to keep these kids out of trouble. See, throw that in. The other issue, some of these kids could go home if they had a home to go to. Or a responsible home to go to. I was also going to mention risk assessment instrument. Were raised.
You are. Notes.
Look at you. Doing acronyms. Yeah. But I will be going to, I believe, Bonham County tomorrow. Already met with Hutchinson County, their commissioners were all supportive of it, obviously. Maurice Walner's the sheriff there. He was supportive of it. He goes, well, heck yeah, it's closer to us, you know, and I've talked to, the Union County Sheriff, Jim Prouty. Possibly, because a lot of the people, or a lot of the counties are gonna be paying the same rate that everybody else is paying, $550 a night. So I wish Andy would have snuck one on the side of the building here, but unfortunately it didn't happen that way. And, but I think we all kind of have to pull together and help each other out, because I know times are gonna be tougher, coming in the coming years. So that's why I came today.
I would appreciate the information. It's good. I mean, yeah, I have no problem supporting this either.
Seems like a good plan. Best of luck.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Andy. I'm like, I hope we can pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you guys got any questions, you can sure reach out to me in my office or whatnot, and I still meet with the team. We haven't really done a final presentation to our county commissioners. I think we're gonna do that a little bit later, maybe the December-ish, maybe the end of this month. I just wanted to get around to the surrounding counties just to kind of let my commission know, hey. And I probably could have done it at one of the District 8 meetings, but I think this is more official. Some of the notes are in open meetings, you know, so it's more transparency for the public to know what you guys are seeing or what you're dealing with. And yeah, you might have some down years, which is awesome. I mean, I wish mine's a down year this year, but we're still spending under $200,000. But, and then factors in with the JDAI. What's that grant? Is the grant still currently going?
It is through July of 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after that, then you guys will have to decide what you're gonna do with your grant here. If you're gonna keep it in-house the state's attorney. Does the Boys and Girls Club have it?
It's currently Boys and Girls Club. Yeah.
And I'm on the board for the Boys and Girls Club Executive Board in Yankton, and it was a really tough conversation because you don't want any hard feelings. But ultimately, you know, state's attorney's office is the one that prosecutes the cases, and I feel like state's attorney's office, even though I'm on the board, I think the state's attorney's office should have the position. My opinion. Try to help them out.
I appreciate that.
It does make a lot of sense.
That's right. Very helpful. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so, and it doesn't seem like, and I was gonna ask a little bit about what your thoughts on a timeline were, but it seems like you're so early in this that isn't really.
I think if we were to do a proposal to a bond on the vote, it would be June 2nd. We'd have to get it on our
So
ballot.
maybe as soon as June 2nd
Yeah,
next
maybe
year
as
for a
soon as
bond.
June 2nd, or, you know, we currently have our bond from our safety center, and that's where the legal stuff comes in, where you can extend that further, I guess. I don't know. I'll let the commissioners decide that. So our final payoff date for our safety center will be at the end, December, it'll be December 1st. So they can extend the bond, I believe, on a vote or something. I'll leave that up to them. Worst case scenario, June 2nd would be on a ballot measure.
I'll say that the work you're doing now to, you know, project out here exactly what the goal is, what it looks like is really, really critical work, especially if you might have bond issue coming out there. And I would encourage you, you know, Clay County did such a good job identifying trusted messengers in the community, building a committee that went out there and kind of took the lead on doing the public education side of it. But if that part doesn't happen, I don't think that bonds make it across the line. And what you're proposing is a really sensible solution that, in my mind, looks like it has cost savings built into it in the long term,
Yeah.
at least. So, you know, just
And
that work helps get you over the line, I think.
And I have talked to, we're in District 18, our state legislators about the facility, you know, it was brought up, maybe bring it to Pier and get some extra funding to help fund it. But realistically, we decided, you know what, we don't want the state to have any say in our facilities. They already have their prison, issues, and so I'd rather just keep it locally, and just like the safety center for the last 20 years is a successful thing for Yankton County, and you guys will have a successful one here too. Just keep it at the local level. Because the state's not looking out for us. Yeah, if you have anything else, reach out to me. more than happy to answer questions.
Thank you.
Well, see if I can see the window in his office now. You got a window in your office now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Clean for me quick, do you? You want to explain it or?
I can, yeah. The LEPC is Local Emergency Planning Committee, which is what deals with the hazmat in Clay County, hazardous materials. And this is a yearly grant from the DANR. Roughly $1,000-ish a year, and money is limited. It can only be spent on something related to hazardous materials. So we can't throw it into a pool of something, but just need a authorization. It asks for the chair of the LEPC to sign it, which is me. So just looking for approval and giving me permission to sign it. And if you got questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yep, and it's pretty much just that that you're active is what this says.
Yeah, and that's all it is we meet our 4 times a year and do all that. Dave's the commission representative on it.
This makes no mention of money, so I mean, they're not guaranteeing anything.
No,
They just want us to guarantee that that the LEPC is active.
that all gets divided because it all depends on how many enter. What Kelsey did say in September at the conference is that she did not do a good job of spending the state's money. So they have lots of extra this year, so we may end up with more than normal. So,
Problem we never have. Awesome.
yeah.
So, what we're considering, just because it isn't in the packet here, so this is a grant agreement, this is a.
This is actually, it kind of is a grant agreement, but this form just says that the LEPC is active.
Okay.
And that makes us eligible for the funds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And that all depends on if the state funds the hazardous material.
Right.
But it just gets us on the books that we're eligible. And the motion needs to be for Lane to be able to sign this.
Yeah. So, so always look at something before I make a motion. Didn't read it all carefully, just did like I did at the agreement at the bottom of my new app on my phone, yeah, so.
Yeah.
But yes, I.
Yeah,
have to authorize Lane
it's
to sign.
pretty
Yep.
self-explanatory and simple.
Yep.
I say. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, motion passes.
You just need it back.
Yeah, that's why I got to sign in. Thank you.
I don't think Kevin has-
No, it's we
Lane
authorize.
is-
Lane to sign this one, yep.
Noah, how long will yours take? While? Good.
I mean, we need to provide, Noah and I've been working as well as Nick I wish we could have gotten to you sooner, but I've been very busy. So yesterday afternoon and this morning, we finalized everything. So though you don't have the copy of the ordinance, we need to provide it to you. You need to review it and then ask questions. So I guess all 3 of us. So
So the final version, or even something close to the final version, hasn't been posted.
yeah, it hasn't been posted. This is the first reading.
Okay.
So this is just the first reading. There will be a second meeting and it will now be posted. Between the first and second reading would be the intention.
So, okay, I'm confused. Do we have anything to have a first reading on?
You do,
But we don't have it.
yeah,
Sounds
correct. No problem, but
We don't have it.
So you're, I know this is. So we just move it to the second reading then?
my hope was that you would be able to go through it today
Okay,
and we can have a conversation. It might take some time for you guys to sit here quietly and work through it.
Okay,
Cause you have a copy, right? From last week. There've been some changes, not some significant changes. What you have last week is fairly close to what the final version is that is being proposed today.
Okay.
okay.
So
What I'm wondering then is if we can get Frank through here quick.
Yeah.
Get him.
absolutely.
Yeah, it should be fast. And I'm gonna turn the contract for Sukup over to,
Yeah.
Dave. You have a check already?
Yep.
Okay.
We just need a motion to approve for contract for Sukop construction for stream bank stabilization on structure 14-125-120, which is the bridge on the corner just east of University on 309th Street, Tabernacle Bridge.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Hi, this is Brad. When that's signed, if you could just please scan me a copy of that, and I'll take care of everything from there.
Sounds good.
You're gonna.
Yes.
Sounds good. Then we've got the driveway application for Dwayne Elliott, 1829 University Road.
Yeah, you got one driveway there, he just wants to add another driveway. He got kids and the school bus pulls in there, then backs out, he just wants to make it a issue, just make it safer for the bus and everything look good.
Move to approve.
Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion passes.
Hey, I should have thrown this under the discussion, but just in general, I'm curious. So on driveway applications, this one makes a lot of sense. I recall in like the master transportation plan, some discussion about how like state highways have categorization of how fast the road is and then therefore how many like entrances there could be within like a certain mile or something like that. So is that something that you consider when you're considering recommending these? Do you take a look at how many other entrances there are and what the speed limit is on the road and stuff like that?
I just kind of, I guess I didn't put any of that in the factor, just thought for the safety instead of for the traffic and stuff, you get a bus pulling in,
Yeah,
and they're trying to back out and there's a lot. of
better to have
traffic
it going up front ways.
And
Yeah,
it just safe, just,
yeah,
no matter what the speed limit was, it just seemed like a safer route.
yep, yep.
Anything else? No one, okay. Resolution for yield sign placement eastbound on 313th Street at 456.
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-30.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Mochler,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Graylow,
Yes.
Easy,
Yes.
Gilbertson.
Yes.
That's anything for you, Rick?
I was just gonna let you know that. The three guys that I hired, two of them just got their CEOs on Saturday. The other one's gonna do his on the 15th, so. Have their CDO by then. They ended up costing like $435 per person, so it was a lot cheaper going down the route than going through us, so. So working out good.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick.
Yep.
No one's gonna know.
Okay.
Okay. I hate to break this up, can I do those no hunting signs?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we put some no hunting signs in that thin strip of right across from the county shop.
Okay.
Like I said before, I know there's no way anybody would hunt, but you never know.
Pretty minimal investment. Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we put no hunting signs along that parcel north of the county shop.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Do we need to put them on the north side of the trees too? Coming off that property. I don't know.
That's on the back side of that, so
They could be coming out of the field, so might not be.
Who owns that field?
Yeah, and you don't know what permissions the landowner given on that.
We don't-
It's probably not a bad idea.
Probably why it's just.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
it's on both sides then.
Yeah, both sides,
Okay, so
since we don't own the north side.
That Bottleton's?
Okay.
Oh, it's not.
All right, yeah, I'll put them on both sides.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, motion passes.
This will be taken.
Thank you. Okay,
All right, now we-
now we're doing.
Well, since we all had some time to look at what we had last week, how difficult would it be to point out the changes between what we had last week and what's in front of us right now? I can do that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pull, I just snagging Glenn's copy of last week's kind of over here. Starting in section 1, we just renamed the section to organization rather than created. And then you've got, we just kind of went through this first one. We just made sure that throughout now it says the Clay County Board of County Commissioners, which shall be referred to as the Board of Commissioners, and the same thing with the Planning Commission. So we're just simplifying in that first phase, in that first section, that, you know, we're trying to keep the terminology consistent and not ambiguous, because they're both technically commissions. So that's really the only change to section 1. Section 2, minor changes, really. There was some, just some removal of some words to just try to clean it up, but section 2 should really be very almost identical, consistent to what it was before. I went through and kind of changed some grammar on it, moved things around, but section 2 is very, very, very similar to what it was in the copy you were provided. Section 3 looks drastically different, only because what I went through with section 3 is the copy that you guys were provided last week, or last meeting, just the first term, the first word or sentence rather, talking about the terms being for 4 years, but initially it's going to be for less than that. And then after that, the sentence starts with therefore, we go back to talking about 4 years. So what I did was I just simplified it and said the initial term is laid out below, and then thereafter appointments are for 4 years. So just simplification in section 3. Section 4 should be the same, other than we again went through and made sure the planning commission was capitalized. You know, periods removed to proper places, you know, that there was no ambiguity in the language. So I also went through the statutes, made sure that I felt comfortable with where they were being cited to. That's really going to be true of section 5, section 6 as well, which really just reads section 6, which is termed removal for cause, as an FYI. That is found in statute 11.2.3. The intention is that as we create a resolution or a bylaw, it will outline that a little more. So this ordinance is referencing that removal for cause. There will be some more clarity as to what that means. That won't be found in the ordinance. It'll be found in later documents. Section 7 and is the same. Section 8, section 8 has some structural changes. I've renamed it Organization of Officers. Nick was involved with all of this as well, just as an FYI. So originally there was some terminologies that are related to offices. We've changed that word to be officer. State law doesn't refer to like what the chair of the planning commission, whether or not they're an officer or what they are. But what we will do, same thing, is we're referring to them as an officer here in the bylaw or resolution that's passed later. We will reference officers as being the chair or vice chair or other positions on the planning commission as we want them. So we're referencing it as a term. The term being used in this ordinance is officer. In a bylaw, we will reference what that means. Was the intention, because state law doesn't clarify.
So we don't need to worry about putting vice chair in this section.
Correct. We can do that in a bylaw. We're going to lay out what the composition of the actual planning commission is in a later document, which will be, we can't approve a bylaw or a resolution which outlines that until we have this ordinance. So this is just intended to kind of be the guiding post, if you would, and then the later document will reference back to this to outline that.
There's some references to rules. Would that be like the rules document?
Correct. Yep.
So the idea would be that, and that's one area I noticed, there was a meetings, rules and records section that didn't refer to rules. But one question I would have is whether we need to have within here any explanation of how are the rules formed? Is it something that is, that is approved at both the planning commission and the full commission level? Those sorts of things might be worth having.
So what I did was I just removed the word rules and records from section 9 because you're right, it only references meetings. It does not reference rules or records. Same thing, my intention is to have that outlined in the bylaw or resolution that's passed after this ordinance.
Okay.
So we're absolutely going to outline that. The intention would be to provide procedure, but rather than including that procedure inside the ordinance, we're going to include it in the bylaw or resolution that's passed after this ordinance.
Do we need to have anything in this document that clarifies the authority that creates those rules or anything like that says this shall be bound by rules, which will be, or is that something that can be within the rules document itself? It can say we are passing this rules document to establish rules for that would work.
I think if we can just do it inside the rules would be my preference as well, because we're not sure what the name of it's going to be either. And so I hear what you're saying, but I think we just name it inside of that document that we create pursuant to this ordinance.
It's reasonable.
So that's section 8 and 9, kind of the changes there, sections 10 and 11 or 10, well, and now I see
10 and 11.
10, 11, so we're gonna have to modify that. So it needs to read obviously 10, 11, 12, and then 13, there's 2 10s here. Those are all really what's outlined via state law as well as like comprehensive plan that we already have. So I didn't change any of that. Nick provided the language for these sections. My recommendation would be not to change any of that because it's just outlining what authority the planning commission has. And then it does to some degree here talk about making recommendations to the county commission, both as it relates to comprehensive plan, zoning regulations, subdivision plats and regulations. And then what is now section 12 that we obviously need to have a correction to make it section 13 is called authority. And all it says here is this ordinance supersedes and repeals any ordinance regarding the creation of planning commission or any ordinance in conflict with this ordinance. So that's all that's saying is anything that's been in existence in the past, this is going to be the document that now structures the planning commission moving forward. We just want to make sure that there isn't any ambiguity as to what document is the prevailing document as it relates to the the creation or rather here it's not a creation, but really the existence of the planning commission or how it's structured. So those are the changes. Of course, now we'll need to at least at a minimum before we move to a second reading. We'll just need to make sections outlined numerically.
And so it doesn't have anything to do with this document, but bylaws make sure that when you, on the organization, to get the chairman and vice chairman,
Yeah, so we have,
that spells out that it's one of the 4. I can't say appointed because the commissioner representative is appointed.
But
too.
one of the board of commissioners seats.
Yes,
Yeah.
has to be the vice chair.
And so you could say seats 1 through 4. I guess seat 5 would be necessarily the commission one. So.
yeah, Pivot,
Yeah.
what we're currently working on, it has the chair, vice chair, and then both of them are gone, which makes them chair. So there's provisions in place to where we always have someone in charge. That-
Right, I just didn't want it to be a commissioner that was.
Okay.
In that spot, because. Like say Dave was vice chair, like he is here on that board, he can't sign a plat twice.
Right.
But he would be put into that position if both chairmen were gone for those meetings.
And what you can say is, the chairperson and the vice chairperson shall be one of the appointed seats, because in this, with the organization of the members, the seats exclusively reference the appointed the non, board of commissioner members. So that would be the 4 appointed exclusively planning commission members. So you can essentially word it in a way, because in this, it's referencing those 4 appointments as the appointed members. It would not refer, and it distinguishes in here between those 4 appointed members and the Board of Commissioners members. So in the bylaws, you can use that language to explicitly state.
That actually, my opinion would be that actually maybe might not be the most appropriate language there. That I think, you know, the planning commission shall consist of really 5 members appointed and confirmed by the members of the Board of County Commissioners, because that is the process by which all 5 members are selected. You know, so including the one that we appoint at the beginning of the year, that is also appointed by and confirmed by the members of the county commission. And without that in there, a 5th member who is a member of the Board of Commissioners, it doesn't clarify that is also. I think that it makes sense, since we're kind of, this is the foundational document for this body, that we ought to have that reference in there as well, because that is the. And I think state law also says that that's how we have to do it, so might as well.
Yeah, because
And it might not, the state law might just say it has to be one member, but we would want clarity on which member that is. I mean, otherwise. You know,
Well, it can change year to year.
yeah,
I mean,
So state law, and I don't have it in front of me, but it says it has to be an uneven, it has to be an odd number and at least 1 county commissioner.
yeah. I was just thinking that, well,
Well, I mean, and that's all the state law says, but
Right.
I think if we just, and it probably just gonna be in the bylaws, seat 5 is the commissioner seat. And the executive board, or the vice chair and chairman will come out of the other 4. Has to.
And I would, so I think we're kind of having 2 conversations at once. I agree with your thought.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and that will be included in the next document outlining who can serve as chair and vice chair. I think to Jeffrey's point, I think this document does what you're requesting, although I can hear, you know, we could change it as well. If you read it, it says that it shall consist of 4 members appointed and confirmed. And then the next sentence is shall also consist of a 5th member who is a Board of Commissioners. My recommendation would be, I mean, we could change that language to say that there's 5 and one of them is a commissioner,
or
but
you
we also.
just add the language appointed and confirmed.
And
But
my thought was maybe under, when we have term of members in section 3, just add a seat 5 and just say annual commission appointment.
Yes.
yeah, because I mean, I wouldn't be changing it too much, other than just clarifying what C5 is.
And then we can reference specifically that the chair and vice chair needs to come from seats 1 through 4.
Yep.
Because then we're referencing what seat 5 is. So if
That can be done in the bylaws.
that would be done in the bylaw.
Yeah.
So here, if we were to add under section 3, seat 5, annual, make it read, annual,
Appointed and confirmed by the, annually appointed and confirmed by the Board of County Commissioners.
correct. Yep, and 1 Clay County Commissioner annually appointed and confirmed.
There's another question on the. I'm assuming it'd be in section 2, but as to the when we do this.
That would be,
Specified in this or no?
I would want to specify that in the bylaws as
Okay.
well, as to when it's going to take place.
I think the easiest way to look at this is the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a guiding tool. The real rules will be in the bylaws.
Yes.
Just like the zoning board does.
Great analogy. Yeah, that's a good one to.
Reason going to seats is better is that way we will never have 2 people gone at the same time in the same year. It's always just nice. I guess how I like to look at it is the president, vice president. President goes away, the vice president takes over for the remaining term. That's kind of how this is laying this out.
Yep, I think this is a lot more clarity than what we had previously. This is good. I had one other question on language. So in section 2, qualified by knowledge or experience to act in matters pertaining to the development administration of comprehensive planning and zoning, that the term development administration just didn't read very clearly to me. So maybe the administration of development and comprehensive plan, or maybe I'm just misunderstanding it.
So the development is gonna be the, not putting houses right next to a giant factory. So it's developing the county.
And so the term development administration is it's and means the administration of development.
Yeah, so
Is
from
Or maybe it's not clear, unclear to anybody else. It just read a little bit. I wasn't. qualified by knowledge or experience to act in matters pertaining to the development administration, to the administration of development or development administration. I guess, yeah, I just, those two terms next to each other just didn't read very clearly to me. Is that?
Where are we at? I'm sorry, I was taking a note from right here.
Section 2, just, as we're making minor edits and things, just the terms development administration, I don't have an issue with it. It just didn't read particularly clear to me what those two words immediately next to each other meant.
And that's fair. I would tend to agree now looking through it. Maybe can we just strike development and just make it say administration of comprehensive planning and zoning?
That would be more clear if everybody feels that has the appropriate meaning.
I've got a question on section 2 also, right above that one. Do they have to be registered voters to serve?
That was language that was provided. I don't have that answer. I made the assumption that that was true based off of what was provided from CCOG, and I don't know if Nick has that answer either, so I didn't put you on the spot.
That I'm looking into the. Right now.
I would think they have to be, wouldn't they?
I think as long as you're a resident.
What we can do is strike voters, answer that question in the bylaws. We know they have to be a resident of Clay County. If we just strike voters today from this document, again, if it's important and it is necessary, we can include that as a rule in the bylaws.
Cause this can remain somewhat vague.
Yep.
With the bylaws being the.
Right. I agree. That makes sense.
And looking in the SDCLs. Do not see anything that would require them to be registered voters. That would just be in the general guidelines into SDCLs for county planning and zoning, so,
I mean, I would prefer that they were, but I would hate to mandate it. I prefer that they are, just because that means they're a little more involved in the government at the very least level of showing up once every 2 years to vote.
Yeah.
But I can imagine a situation where somebody had committed a felony early in their life and had totally turned their life around and became an excellent expert on development and things like that, and well trusted in the community, but still wasn't able to vote. And, as a thought experiment, I can imagine someone like that being an appropriate person to seat on there. And I could also imagine a situation where somebody who's trying to sue us could find out that some member of this body voter registration wasn't in order. They had updated the registration to here and then been like, hey, that member of that commission wasn't legally seated. So I think especially based on that second one, I would lean towards just making it residents.
And I'll look into it, whether or not there's any legality behind that. And if there is, it can be included in the bylaw. I think the easiest thing here is to just strike it. And if it's necessary by state law to implement or federal law to implement that requirement, we will. And if it's not, then I agree that I think that the prudent thing also to ensure that we're not going to walk ourselves into any litigation issues. We wouldn't want to strike someone from being able to serve if they are technically legal to serve. That could be a consideration made by the board, but it shouldn't be something that disqualifies them if it's not proper pursuant to law. So right now, we'll clean up the language. If this is moved to a second reading, I wouldn't say anything that we've discussed so far would constitute a major change that would stop this from moving to a second reading. What we will work on is as far as I'm concerned from the conversations we've had so far, is we will kind of strike that language in section 2 as it relates to resident voters. We will remove that word development, but in section 2, so it just reads administration. We're also going to spell out in section 2 a little cleaner that what the fifth seat is, because this last sentence says that 4 appointed seats shall be 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to also reference the fifth seat is the commissioner seat. In section 3, we're going to add seat 5 and reference that is an annual appointment by the Board of Commissioners and is a commissioner. And then that is the changes that I'm seeing so far, other than, of course, we have two sections 10, so we need to make it section 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
For the planning, for the commissioner going to the planning and zoning commission, is that a resolution or is that just a vote at the beginning of the year?
Just a vote.
Just a vote.
So you could almost change that, 4 members appointed and confirmed by the Board of Commissioners by resolution. And then that would exclusively refer to the 4 if that Board of Commissioners member is not resolution.
But then we're just gonna keep adding resolutions and gonna file up with paper, right?
Yeah.
Every,
Yeah.
every year, actually, because it has to change every year. Could change.
Right. No, I think just going with seat 5. Commissioner appointed annually. For the terminology there. And then just right after seat 4. If the commissioner is seat 5.
You noticed this for a second reading, right?
Yes,
And when is that second reading?
they set the date for this.
Okay, right, okay, so you
Yeah,
haven't
so
published it.
we published the notice saying, hey, there was a reading today. And then the second reading is always determined by you guys.
But it's just gotta be 5 days from today.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be published. This has to be at least 5 days after the first.
And then assuming this passes to a second reading, then you will then take the notes, you and I and Nick can work on kind of formalizing that language pursuant to what the conversation is here today, and then post that. Is that what you do normally?
I just got the Facebook website. Or page up.
You should put it up on the planning and zoning page.
Yep. So it's the planning and zoning veteran, so I'll go ahead and update the document up to there.
I don't have to leave there.
Are we having a meeting on Veterans Day or is it not observed?
We're moving it.
That's on
Part
the-
of the discussion.
Later in the agenda.
Oh,
No.
it's on the.
We want to set the second reading for the 13th.
Oh,
Well, we haven't discussed that.
Probably tentatively. You can go back and change it if that goes all right.
second reading at the next meeting.
I wouldn't have an issue with that. Yeah, and we'll make sure that it gets out there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on the Facebook page today.
I think it's a good idea. Yep. And so then, and there was a notice about today's meeting that was published in the paper and we don't see the room full of people. That's a good indication that, I think putting it out there is good and I'll try to let people know that they can go and review it and hopefully we'll have another empty room on the 13th. Because everybody thinks it's great.
I can look into some of the stuff that has been brought up today and I can even. I'll talk to Sean as well, just to get a forward opinion on some of this stuff as well.
Anybody have anything else? Just entertain a motion to move this to the second reading at the next meeting at 9:30.
So moved.
Second.
I would just include in your motion the modifications that I referenced.
Okay. you Move to a second reading with the modifications that we've discussed in this meeting.
Second again. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Both same sign. Motion passes. Anything else? No?
Small group tomorrow.
It's the view.
Should be able to hammer that out.
Did you all?
Yep. Other than that. And zoning sign's done. I have a booth at the high school for the Veterans Day. I'm going on there. Well, I'll see on that and keep it months release.
Sounds good. Andy, we've got the Charles Mix County inmate boarding contract. Pretty simple, $90 a year.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea that we maintain that. We won't use them to house except for situations where typically we have had situations where somebody's on probation and they're violated and they're over there. So I think maybe their probation's been extended over there and then we have to go get them, bring them back 48 hours. By the time we go get them, one day's already passed, bring them back and within a half a day, they're out again in Vermillion now on the streets with that money usually. We find it's just better. Leave them over there, pay Charles, and they're $60, $180 now. So I'm gonna transfer them back. So it's good to have the contracts, so that way we know what the cost is gonna be.
I move to approve the Charles Mix County inmate boarding contract.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All the same sign. Motion passes.
Thanks for coming down, Dick.
No problem, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
The annual liquor license renewals for Williamson Toby's.
We have the ATM RFP for Amy too. That was posted on the final copy of the agenda yesterday. Or nine, so.
What is it?
Well, we have requested to place an ATM in our lobby. And I thought that that would be probably more appropriate to do an RFP because I don't know who would place one in our lobby if they only knew that that was something that was okay. Historically, we had an ATM in our lobby at the old building, was put there when Kathy Powell was on the board with the credit union. And she requested that we place one there for her office's purposes. We put it in our lobby because it has 24-hour access. And it worked out real well for many years. There was no agreement and, but it just worked out until credit union took the ATM out because it needed maintenance and they said their fees don't cover the maintenance. And so I reached out to all of the other banks in town and none of them were interested in placing an ATM, so we just didn't have one. Then when we started talking about this building or when we're under construction, I was approached by, also old lumber company. Chad Grunwald, called me up and he asked about placing an ATM in our lobby. And I said, well, tentatively, he said he had one ready. I said, just put it in our current lobby. You can get an idea of what kind of traffic you're gonna get and whether or not you even want to bother putting one in. Meanwhile, I'll work on an RFP and talk to the commission about it. And I had other things to do and I just now got to this last week. Meanwhile, his ATM sitting in the lobby over here unplugged. And disconnected, but he's willing to place one. I don't know if anybody else might be, so I just thought that that it wouldn't be appropriate necessarily just to allow one private contractor to place one without offering it to others that might do it. There's a few things to consider. I know his fee is $5 per transaction. He said he would add to that if we wanted a fee to receive revenue from it. It wouldn't come from his, it would add on to it. I told him, don't do that. I don't think that $6 a transaction is reasonable. As a matter of fact, I'm not comfortable charging $5 a transaction in our lobby because everybody's gonna think that's us charging that. And I know that these days, a lot of the ATMs you see around the community are private owned, not necessarily bank owned. And one day I needed to use an ATM at Bunyan's and theirs charged a $3 fee. I don't know who owns that one. $3 fee is more, I think, common and reasonable. So that's some of the things that I put into the RFP here. I tried to keep this RFP as simple as I could. Some of the other RFPs we've had this past year were many pages long and just trying to make this as simple as I could, but I was looking for input from you on and I pitched it to Michael late last week. So for his consideration, whether or not what our advertising responsibilities are, what our deadline might be for it, but I just kind of wanted to know, for example, what their terms would be, what their cost would be to the person using the ATM, whether or not they would share revenue with us or offer that, or whether or not we want that. I think it could be, might consider it reasonable on our part if we don't even need a fee. There's our cost outlay is just the electricity to run the machine and the IP address off of our internet. That is, both of those are shared costs with the city. So if there was revenue, would that be shared? So I think that one of our motivations would be to keep the costs low to the user that's using it. So, and there's a benefit for us is the ATMs in the facility, it's nearby, people need cash, to either bond out of jail or bond somebody out of jail, or to put money on an inmate's account. It would get used for that. Just looking for input from you, and I was kind of hoping if possible, if you like the RFP that I've drafted, if we fill in the blanks, we could get it advertised ASAP.
So was that mailed out to us? I didn't see the RFP.
I didn't, I looked.
I don't think I got that sent out.
I can make you copies if you like. You want to talk about Sunday?
It's only 2 pages.
I don't want to make
Yeah.
some copies. You want to talk about something else?
Why don't you? Everything you said sounds reasonable, so, yeah, but good to read stuff for you guys. Like we need a whole.
Talk about rescheduling the meeting.
Okay, we'll be back with it. Sure.
I'm just trying to get back to my agenda, because I was trying to find it too. Okay, reschedule the next meeting to Thursday, November 13th.
So I voiced to Carrie when the packet came out. Unfortunately for me, I can attend part of it via Zoom, but I have a medical appointment. We'll just leave it at that at the VA. And you know what it's like, no, it's rescheduled through the VA, so I would rather keep it, but I can be there until. See, I think, actually, I might not be able to. I think 9:30 is my appointment, so I might make it real. No, 11 o'clock. Okay, well, so I'm good until 11 o'clock.
Well, let me ask this question. Michael, does the planning and zoning thing time sensitive? We need to keep moving.
Yes, I mean, I think if we're going to implement this going into 2026, in order to do the next step, which is to get the rules, whether that's a a resolution or a bylaw passed, is also gonna take some time and some notice, and then we need to start advertising and get them filled going into January, so I would say yes.
So it's Monday too quick? What's the 5 days? Does weekend count?
So it's 5 days. I don't think it's.
Thursday's okay, you can put it on. If you put it on early, I'll be okay. I'm gonna plan to be at the VA by 9 o'clock so I can get on Zoom.
But I mean, if we can do Monday or Wednesday.
Oh,
Monday wouldn't work for me, but Wednesday would.
I would just, to be abundantly safe, I would say Wednesday would be the safer option than Monday as it relates to. that
Wednesday, I
5
have a
days.
doctor's appointment in Sioux Falls.
Okay, we need younger people.
Can we do it 8 o'clock Thursday morning?
Does that work, Kevin?
that would work. I would do, in that case, I would just have to be out of here by 9:45 probably to go to Sioux Falls. So.
I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
I don't have much else for the agenda for next week, so I mean, I think it could be a quick meeting.
So if we just do Thursday at 8? That'll work for everybody?
Yeah, that works.
And then just have that planning and zoning thing,
On the front side.
yeah,
Yeah,
like 8:15.
that makes sense to me, to ensure that you're present for it.
That would be good. Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't
You good,
realize that.
Jeffrey?
I didn't realize about
Veterans
Veterans Day.
Drop off that morning. when I
normal was
leave,
Thursday.
Drop them off and I'll be on my way over here, so
There's a possibility I might be a couple minutes late, but
Well, we won't start on that part. Tell your thing.
I think that should work. So just moving that up to eight AM on Thursday, the 13th. Okay, I move to set our next meeting time to Thursday, November 13th at 8 AM.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All same sign, motion passes. Andy, he dropped off RFP, so.
So kind of wrote it to where, I was seeking the vendors, we could change that to the county commission. Seeking, I don't know what you think about that.
No, because it's better if they, well, are they gonna drop them to you? Are they?
Well,
dropping them
and
here?
on the second page, I did have, typically our RFPs have been submitted to the auditor. In the past few times we've done them, we've had the auditor receive them, they go to a committee. And we have an RFP committee that the county's been using, Glenn, Michael, me, Rhonda and Scott. And that have been considering RFPs. I'm comfortable that we've got a flow. We want to do that and then just consider them and then make a recommendation. Recommendations, kind of how I thought we'd run with it. And I'd like to keep moving, Chad would like to plug his machine in and get it working here. And
So you don't have a date on when?
I don't have a date yet because I didn't know if you guys would like this or not, if we need to go back to the drawing board or not. So
I think this is the fair way to go. I mean, it pretty boilerplate, looks like it makes sense.
I wanted to make sure that we could reject it too, because if we only had one submission and they're charging what we think is an unreasonable fee to the user, then we could just reject it. If there's more than one, we should probably be fair.
Bring something out of left field here. What do these machines cost?
Don't know.
They're pretty expensive. $50,000-$60,000.
Just thinking, so people are using this every single day, right? Oh,
Not sure. And Chad hasn't given me any feedback.
Quick Google says they cost between $2,000 and $8,000. I think these little ones that, there's like, they've all gone to these private vendors these days. And those so looking at very, very quick Google search says $2,000 to $8,000.
Imagine that there is.
Yeah, when I was at the credit union, you couldn't get one for that price for what they were getting, but this is probably a little lower grade.
I'm just thinking why are we paying him $5 or $6?
Yeah.
Why can't we just own this?
We're not paying them anything.
Well, but I know that.
Yeah.
But we could charge people $2 and, maybe recoup our costs eventually.
It's gonna be more than the cost of the machine. There's gonna be
You got
banking
maintenance,
software
stack,
involved.
And cash handling, we're gonna have to.
Software
We're gonna have to
updates, all that.
Get cash, load the cash into it, and put more cash into
The
it.
biggest problem is who we're gonna have do it.
Right.
This way we don't have to worry about it. I mean, it costs us electricity, yes. But $2 or even $3 transaction is gonna take a long time to. Since we only have one.
I think we go through with the RFP. I don't think us. I don't know if you would have a person in charge of it.
Oh, who'd that be?
Yeah.
And then if it breaks down, then you're talking more money that,
Right. Plus, this would get us going.
yeah.
This isn't a forever.
Yeah.
If we can come up with a good solution later.
Yeah, exactly. We could draw it up and it doesn't have a term in the contract, because we might want to establish whether it be an annual term and they could change. Or we could have it auto renew if not canceled within 90 days notice or something like that. And then if we decided we wanted to do this for ourselves.
May I also make one other recommendation? Right now, it's being issued by the Clay County Sheriff's Office. I think that's proper. It can either be the commission or the sheriff's office. However, if it's the commission and it goes through a committee, then you technically shouldn't vote on the recommendation until the following meeting. If you guys grant the approval of this RFP, you can also then grant the authority of the sheriff and the committee to make that decision without coming back to the commission as to the reject all or to who to place it. And then the committee could just meet and make that decision if that's authority is granted to the sheriff's office in this, like through a motion today. And then it can be expedited even further and the decision could be made well in advance of otherwise.
Like the way he thinks. I'll make a motion that we allow Andy to go with the request for proposal and the decision be made by the committee.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I just have one, Michael. A long time ago it was made that all contracts are signed by the commission.
Yeah.
That's-
I think here you would be, that is true. That is a rule of the commission, but you certainly have the authority to say, but in this situation, we're granting that authority to.
Okay, just want to clarify.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Both same sign, motion passes. Make sure you have a date of when they have to be in by.
Yeah, I'll get with Carrie on advertising and see about when it might advertise. Do we need to advertise this twice or just once?
Just once.
And we, the proposals will all come back to the commission to review and we pick one of those, right? No, you're
No,
saying that. the-
we just gave them-
Okay.
Their
All right,
committees.
so I was unclear on that. I apologize. Okay.
Now we can move on to the annual liquor license renewals for Wimps and Toby's. And I have Toby's one in front of me first. Everything looks to be in line. To approve Toby's.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion passes.
So I have no concerns about any of the existing liquor licenses that are out there, but I was a little unclear about some of the guidelines that we should be considering. You know, is this outlined in state law, what liquor license approval is? Is this in our ordinances somewhere? Do we have a specific number of liquor licenses and they are limited? And so I realized going into this meeting that I didn't have a lot of clarity on all of those.
Yes to all of those. It is outlined in state law as well as in county ordinance. We have 3 county liquor licenses. 2 of them have been purchased and are in use and are up to date for 2026 year. I don't have the ordinance off the top of my head or the state law that references liquor licenses. If my recollection serves, the state law does a more comprehensive job of regulating municipal liquor licenses, and that's why our ordinance supplements state law fairly significantly, but that's an older ordinance. I just don't have it off the top of my head. But it outlines the procedure, how many we have, as well as, cost association.
Okay, so I could just go dig back, because I thought I'd seen that in the ordinances, but then I neglected to go back and look at the prior to this meeting, so I'll
I
do
think
that.
it's like 10-4 or something like that. I think it was 2010 when it was passed.
Cause we have 3 available, right?
3 available, and that I believe is state law. It's based off of population.
Is the third one purchased?
No,
No.
It's just out there available.
out there and available.
So I've got Wimps liquor license.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion passes.
We've got separate on sale and off sales for these 2, right? So did we just approve the 2?
Did we approve that liquor license?
I think in the past, we just done one motion.
Okay.
On there.
Yeah. Your point is there's 2 different applications.
Application
one for
with
on-
different fees.
on-
Yeah, so.
One's for on sale, one's for off sale.
We need to approve both, or were they covered?
Sounds like it's
Carrie's saying traditionally, we just approve both at once, so
Yep.
maybe that's okay.
Same application.
Informational letter from Web Branches regarding prize giveaway. What was this for?
I was a little confused.
I read it, but
So there is a statute that says if an organization is gonna have a raffle or a giveaway, that they should send a letter to the governing body. At least that's 30 or 90 days in advance, something like that. So this lady stopped in and she said they had called the state like 3 times, left messages, hadn't received any reply. They didn't know what they were supposed to do, and they wanted to make sure that they were doing it right. And off the top of my head, I knew we had the statute, so, I just advised her to send a letter just to let you guys know what was going on.
So it's just a notice to us. Now we've seen it. It's been in the packet.
I would also, if you have another conversation with her, I don't know who she's contacted, but she should contact the gaming commission, which is Department of Revenue, I think,
Yep.
extension.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's who she had left messages with, but
So what do we do with the other ones that do giveaways? Like 4-H.
This is the first I've seen it.
I've never seen anything before either.
it's, you know,
Not common in the city.
I think in all of my time with the county, I've seen one other raffle notification letter come in. So,
There. You know, the city council gets these requests now and then, and when people do the raffle by law, they're supposed to get council approval before you sell raffle tickets for prizes. A lot of people don't, a lot of fundraisers do it, especially, you know. Like, I remember a poker run recently where people would buy the tickets and then they drop them in the buckets for the prizes. That would be a game of chance that would require city council approval if it happens in the city of Vermillion. I think that they're just figuring that extends out to the county. Now, a lot of people don't get city council approval. and do these
No,
things.
well, what do you think about Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants Forever? Anybody, I mean, having a.
They should go to the city council. And a lot of them do.
Yeah, but it's not just limited to the city though.
No.
Either.
The ones that happen in the city, I've seen it. I would say that's real common.
Those are,
I
so
think it's
those inside the city wouldn't come to us, that would go to city, okay. So this is just because it's in the county.
Just doing a quick review here of law 222525 seems to be the statute, and it is a class 2 misdemeanor if you conduct bingo or lottery in violation of 222525.
State worried about not getting their cut.
And well, technically, there's taxing implications too. If you win over a certain dollar amount, federal income tax requires that you claim that and that you also submit a form. So I'm sure that it all plays in to all of that, I'm sure.
So in that statute, is it saying that we need to approve this or that we need to be made aware of it?
Well, I'm trying to read through that. It's convoluted. So the game bingo as defined here or lottery as defined here may not be construed as gambling or as a lottery within the meaning of 2225(1) if. So essentially it's saying that bingo and lottery are not gambling if they meet one of these 8 subsections. That's all this statute is referencing. I'm not seeing. Let's see what I can find.
there's, I think I emailed it to you.
That's 222525. But you emailed me.
Yeah, and there's like a subsection that talks about notifying the local government, and I can't remember. I think it's this one.
Should authorize in the section before conducting a bingo. Give 30 days written notice of the time and place thereof of the governing body. To the governing body or designated administrative official of the county or municipality in which it intends to conduct a bingo. And the governing body does not pass a resolution objecting thereto. Essentially, then how this reads is 222525 subsection 7 is if this is applicable, and I'm not even sure it is, but if it is. The governing board or a designated administrative official would need to pass a resolution objecting to.
So we just need to be notified and not.
If we have a problem with it, then we'd have to.
Correct. So you've been notified, and if you'd like to file an objection, now would be your time.
And under the statute, this would be considered a lottery, I'm sure.
I haven't read that far into it,
Okay.
possibly.
Henry Vern once described it as a game of chance.
Game of chance, right? That's how I would describe it too.
Cause she was talking about, we had a fundraiser for the office. Well, it was our Christmas bank and we had some door prizes. She said, you can't do that. And in this case here, I think it was okay because you get the prizes or you don't have to buy the tickets.
Right.
We weren't in violation of anything, but she described it as a game of chance and
Yeah.
running counter to that statute.
Well, I have no objections to this saddle raffle.
No,
I'll state that on the record here. This seems fine to me.
Agreed.
Anything for Clay County Park, Justin?
Nope.
Building project updates, anybody? Anything? Strong the courthouse?
Loud, dusty.
Well, I've been in Indiana and Pierre, so it hasn't affected me. Noah would know was probably the best.
Oh, I've been failing in my chair every day. Yeah, they're definitely going hard in the old safety center, so.
Good.
We have a meeting this week, the committee. I do want to discuss with them the tear out. My understanding is the network equipment from upstairs has been removed, but I wanted to caution on gotten too much because the camera system that exists in there is the courthouse's camera system. And there's kind of been a bit of a pedal to the metal gutting going on there, and I want to make sure that they're being conscious of what's being ripped out of there. And I know the monitors that monitor those cameras are not in the jail anymore. I don't know where they went. And so that we want to make sure that they're cautious about that. So I'll make sure to bring that up to the committee meeting, at the committee of the meeting on Thursday.
2:30.
I think so.
Jurisdiction? Anything? Should meeting, you have?
Yep.
Meeting tomorrow. Meeting tomorrow. We haven't had anything since last meeting. Any other commissioner reports?
Just one thing, not necessarily a report, but something to possibly put on the agenda. Men's Night Out is coming up and Dave will be speaking and I'm planning on attending. He might be attending, so we might want to put that there will be a potential forum. No business will be discussed, but just we will potentially be in the same location at the same time.
We even have to notice stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would notice it. Just out of an abundance of caution.
It's invited from a different,
Yeah, it's one of the ones that's listed in there. It's an invitation from the Dakota Hospital Foundation in this situation, which it'd be wise. I mean, I would always just err on the side of caution because this way there can't ever be an allocation and then we don't have to worry about it.
And when and where?
It's at 19 Brewery and I believe it's our 13th. Oh my God.
The 13th?
15th at 6 o'clock.
Sanford Health occurred to me to talk about how healthy I am.
What's that?
Same meeting notice for earlier that day.
Right. There you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'll just
I'll be at a meeting at the bar.
Yes,
it is. The meeting at the bar.
put it at the bottom of the agenda as another public notice.
I finally figured out why they recruited me. Is because they're pretty proud they kept me alive this long. You're still a medical miracle. Because it's about preventive maintenance.
Executive session?
Not for me.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Same sign, we're adjourned. Andy, do you want to throw in, the inmate contract or this?
Harriet, no, I've been called the basic picture, I guess, so.
You?
What, you want to send that to them, Gary, or?
That just means already.